Hello, hello, lads and gents, and welcome. Welcome to EON League Season 2. Today we're going to be watching a bunch of matches, 3 to be exact, since the first one was a bit of a skip, but in the end, those matches 2 are finished. But before we get into any details about maps, operators, you know the shtick, we're going to be talking about who's going to be showing you these matches and leading you through them. I'm Puffer Bob, and I'm joined by our beautiful co-caster. Hello, Fancy Pixel, how have you been, man?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a while since we last saw each other, and I'm really excited to be here again. Yeah, I'm waiting for the games. Let's see what the teams have for us today.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, as I previously mentioned, just to get into a bit more detail to actually explain a bit of the lore of what's been happening right now, the first match was a bit of a forfeit, also some background production. Whatever the case is, we still have 3 more to go. Now, those are the quarterfinal, semifinal, and final of today's second qualifier out of the 3. Now, the first qualifier was on the 24th, the second one is today, there's going to be a third one, and then also another one, the last qualifier, or a chance to recover from it. Now, today, teams are basically going to be fighting to go for 50 points at least. Whoever wins this first match is going to have at least 50 points going forward, and whoever loses in the one we're going to be doing as of current is going to be going in with 25. Now, these teams that we're going to be watching, I'm personally not too familiar with them. Maybe you are, Fancy.
Actually, no, I haven't seen the names before. I've heard of them, but I've never seen them in action before.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what can the players from both teams.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, we did see a bit of a screen. Maybe we can pull that back up just so we can get a bit of an introduction as to who's going to be playing, or maybe not. Whatever the case is, some very. Can you repeat that, please? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Basically, interesting matches. We're gonna have to see how they turn out, and I'm excited to see. It's a bit of a I'll say a lucky block. We're going into this match with the map and the teams. Really have to see how they're gonna adapt. Really have to see how they're gonna work things through. Now, but again, we are quite into the end of the season with new things changing. We're also going to see a bit of a change of pace. Now, we are seeing the players. The side is going to be we have some captains, managers, whatever it is. Some interesting teams, some interesting names. And Fancy, you said you've seen their names, but not seen them in action. Any of these names that may be recognizable to you?
Yeah, I've heard and seen a little bit of Nastia and Milan previously because I used to coach in MNEB, and then I've seen some of those Hungarian players, of course, in other teams, and that's why they're ringing a bell to me. But I haven't seen them a lot in action, so this would be my first time actually like casting them. So I would like to see what would they offer in overall as a team.
Yeah, most definitely. Would be interesting to see. And hopefully, we're going to be seeing the best of the best and the most of the performance we can from them. Hopefully, no bad day excuses are going to be coming out. Same goes for their opponents. But in the end, we have more matches. And yeah, let's take a look at the opposition V2X Gaming. We have Psycho, Arctic, Solar, Wildex, and some many more. But in the meanwhile, we did get confirmation that the lobby's ready, so let's get to it. Let's get into this match. Let's see what these teams are going to be bringing, and let's see what we're going to be playing, what we're going to be watching, Fancy. I'm very hopeful right now to see some good action, some one-on-ones, maybe clutches, maybe spawn peaks. What about yourself? What would be on your bingo board?
No, I would love to not see spawn peaks. I would actually
Ah,
I would love to see some action, aggressiveness. Yeah, sure, roaming and clever plays, because remember, we're in the end, Rainbow is all about tactical and not about just being going all over the place. So you have to win it in a smart way, not just run all over the place. And I'm seeing Consulate as our map, which should be an interesting map because Consulate is one of the maps that you cannot just go slightly with. First ban, Dokkaebi, classic. I
Hmm.
think it's a fair ban at least for now until the new season.
Yeah.
Davis is, I think Davis was also a fair ban because if you think about it, Davis is, especially in Consulate, for a map like more defense-sided, I think Demus can help attackers clear more areas quickly.
Most definitely. I mean, the two bands, Dokkaebi, it's an overall band. It's a jack of all trades, a good gun, good secondaries, but the gadget, the main gadget, is really what sticks the thorns into the needle, into the leg, some may say. But the Dokkaebi, of course, just like the Ying, the demos I am a bit questionable about. Now, of course, this is a pretty huge map. Roamers are going to have their way with it. A lot of rotations possible, a lot of ways for them to set up in a favorable way for themselves. So demos, of course, can be changed out for the Jackal, but if you want to go with that, verticality is quite common here when going top to bottom, so I can see it. I can definitely see it. And Azami and Fenrir, just like the Dokkaebi situation, it's the same all around. It's the common bands. You do not want to play with or against that operator. It's really a coin flip. You can either go, okay, we're just not gonna stick a Fenrir and Azami in here, or you go, we're gonna have to play against them when we're not on the defense. So that's really the coin flip there. But Fancy, we said the demos, we said the Dokkaebi, but that leaves a bit of space for Ying, Grim, and Flores, which are going to be quite deadly if you ask me.
Mhm. Yeah, I would like to see how this first round shape up because we can see that those three in combination together, that's going to be seemingly a very fast execute and play style. So especially in a map like this, and map like Consulate, a fast-paced attack is very much needed. So let's see what would happen in the first round and see how can the the attack would shape out in the first 6 rounds for them. So I'm seeing here you can tell the push is more from the office side and they're trying to focus on that area of the map. I think they're trying to plant. Probably they will try to plant in the meeting room. So we'll see what happens here for the attackers.
Yeah, it is an admin-sided push, and meanwhile, I spot a Thorn rocking the shotgun, which is gonna be an unusual way. You have that beautiful 50 cal Uzi on hand, so why waste it for a shotgun? Not a clue. Maybe rotates were a bit more needed in the prep phase, but whatever the case is, admin is gonna get pushed. We have the Ash on Skylight. We have the Tachanki also around to be on that time waste with the Shamika, but do keep in mind, you have to keep that Tachanka alive to deny the plants or to deny any specific push. His fire is strong. It lasts long. You have a lot of the Shamika grenades. But you gotta have that operator alive. It's not like a Mute or a Melusi. Once he plays the gadget down, they're good to go. Now, in the meanwhile, we saw a bit from the side of admin getting held by the shield, and it's gonna get completely ran out on. The floor destroys the shield, no mutes on it directly as the Shamikas are slowly starting to approach the situation. 1 minute 20 on the clock, and the attackers have gotten themselves quite a bit of space to work with, but now they need to start slowly progressing towards sight.
Yeah, definitely, because this is what such lineup can get you. And here we can see the first fight between the Flores, but the the Ash is taking care else, and I think this is the moment where everything matters because you can see they have done the attack and they have done everything. Oh my God! And the Warden just quickly gets another kill, and 5v3 makes it very harder for them to finish the round, and a 5v2 Mute gets another kill. Yeah, this is a very hard round for the attackers.
Most definitely. The triple brought on from the Warden is going to be absolutely brutal, leaving the Grim in a 1v5 situation, almost leaving it flawless. You have 25 seconds. Normally, people would even stop, save their op, as some would consider it, just to kind of waste their time and get a bit of a chat in. What went wrong? Talk with your teammates and use that time. But some quick peeks from the top of Visa stairs are going to be pushing Grim just a bit back towards bottom. Now he tries to push up, and the first round is going to be going to BFTD. with a beautiful, flawless cherry on top just to make it shinier and just to make it that much more clear that they're not messing around. V2X, a bit of a rough start. The way you started off, you took things quickly. You had admin. Verticalities, flanks covered. Shield was gone on the hallway, and you progressed. But then when it comes to those 1v1s, the Warden was just peeking the same door and same angle, same hallway, you name it. He was peeking at one after another, and what happened? No one contested him. We saw people just crouching behind couches, watching him take their heads off. I mean, rough start, but, you know, there's always time for adaptation.
Yeah, it's a first round. They're still trying to figure out how can they do things, and maybe yes, they had the operators to help them push faster. But the problem is the info was not there. They had everything they needed, and they just couldn't push to the execute part. They took the control. They took care of the flank, and everything was set up correctly. But then the execute part is where they fell. So maybe a different lineup here we can see is going to change how can they play, because also it's a different site. So the combination, of course, between the thermite and the thatcher is very essential to get the breach open, especially that we have a card only. It's very weird to not see a Tubaru, especially in this site, but we'll see what happens if it will be tricked or not. Seems not. Yeah, it will not be tricked successfully, and the breach will be open. Yeah, another reason I think you should be bringing a Tubaru for this site specifically, because it will help you waste more time. But we can see they're playing in a different way because they're roaming upstairs. You can see the visual in the second floor roaming upstairs, and also you can see that the castle and is being in the meeting and in the piano room, and along with the Capcan. So I think they're trying to play more on giving them control of the breach, but giving them less control of the verticals.
Most definitely, the filler skill will be showing itself brought onto the Vigil. That's going to be the heavy roamer off the board. Legion, in the meanwhile, taking quite a hefty amount of damage as the second one is brought down to BTFD. V2X with a very heavy start, getting those 1v1s and locking them in. Now the Capcan lurking around that window. He's not revealing himself just yet. He's waiting. He's waiting and waiting patiently, but he is seemingly getting spotted. The gun barrel just peeking around the corner and gets down, which is going to be confirming the third one. Not completely, but just as I said, he's out of the match. V2X, very strong start with the clear. And just like you said it, Fancy, now they've got the intel. They are completely cornering anyone who's not on site, pinching them, sandwiching them, up until they're choked out. C4s will be getting brought, not detonated yet. Don't know what the Cade was waiting for there. Would have been a perfect opportunity, also perfect timing, but you're completely stuck on hallways. You have no more contention of sight. You have people above. You have people on the same level, behind, left, and right. You need to watch your angles, and the castle is doing anything by that as a double dropped on from Shadow, leaving the Cade in a 1v5, just like earlier the Grim was. And a flawless return from V2X. They didn't like the disrespect, so they're going to be returning it and yoinking it right back.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell how the difference between this round and the last round. The pace was perfect. Everything was set up correctly. You had to correct what was missing. The info that was not there. Everything was done perfectly, and the combination of having IQ against the visual was one of the most important parts in that round. But you can see also not only them fixing their mistakes. You can see the Tubaru is being brought for the same site, and maybe this could make the difference for them.
Maybe. Just maybe it could. The Tubarão is going to be denying a bit more of Plant, and of course, his main job, denying that breach. Alongside Cade will be quite a dynamic duo, just like Thatcher and Thermite on the attack, just like the same old, but do keep in mind, those aren't the two operators that are going to be doing the job. We have the Valkyrie, who is another operator that could have maybe actually been banned, but Valkyrie is a bit more common on maps like Bank, maps like Cafe. But if you can use her, she is basically the best intel gatherer out of all of them. A bit of help coming out from the Legion when it comes to actually turtling inside. You know, anyone's going to try to push in, they're going to get good. The information's going to get relayed directly to the defenders, and you're going to need to pull that goo out because no one wants to have a poison needle up their foot. I mean, that's just chaotic. Now, the attackers, we did mention Deimos is banned. So what's the next best quality thing to bring when clearing roamers? It's going to be that Jackal. The Togepi as well can't really help out that much, but the Jackal is going to hopefully work out as the defense isn't necessarily bringing a dedicated operator for roaming.
Yeah, but also you have to think about it. Every operator can be used for roaming because
True.
in the end, it doesn't depend on one character or another. But you can see here the Valkyrie info is very important, especially against the Jackal, and the Jackal position is known now to the defenders, at least to the Valkyrie. But of course, that will be communicated to the team. But as you said, maybe they're not using a specific operator for the roaming, but you still can use a Valkyrie or a Legion, especially the Legion. You can tell he can be helpful to hold some areas of the map if he's holding it with his goo mines. And you can see already the track went from the Legion specifically on the from the Jackal on the Legion to clear out the roamer, but you can tell there isn't too much resistance in roaming this round. Maybe they're focused more on to holding the site and the site entrances.
Yeah, most definitely. But as we're speaking of it, the opening one is going to be showing itself. Valkyrie was playing a waiting game upstairs, and she worked it out. Getting the Thermite pick is definitely going to be a good one. Now, leaving the attackers a bit confused. How do we get rid of her? How are we going to stop this from appearing from a double kill? Maybe she's going to continue it. A gun comes close, but it's going to be the side of BTFD winning it. The nice pick from the side of IQ will be taking care of the roamer quickly and swiftly. Going on to the job instantly, you don't want to waste too much time. Even if you don't have the info, you'd rather not trade it out for time because time is a valuable asset, especially on the side of the attacking. You need to get the execute in quality over quantity, especially because of how the setup is made. Now another kill dropped, evening it out. Now it's a 3v3. The K, the Castle, the Tubera versus the IQ, Thatcher, Jackal. It's all going to be down to gunfights, but intel is still around the corner. We have bulletproof cameras and tight angles are being held, but one's going to get dropped. A trade will be coming out the next same second as the plant gets attempted, but peek to the left, peek to the right. A nice finishing it off from the IQ. An absolute menace. Shadow getting one, getting two. He's going to be hiding behind that pillar, and he's going to be doing so fantastically as another round very nicely relayed over to the side of V2X.
Yeah, to be honest, Papu, I don't think the attack should have won this round. You can tell me why. I'll tell you because the non-clearing for the Valkyrie that caused them to lose two from the very early, and it was almost a 5v3. That could have caused them the whole round, but the rest of the players, the three players, knew what to do, knew how to capitalize, and they refragged a little bit later the Valkyrie, which is fine, but then they knew how to attack the side directly and how to capitalize on the parts of the side that are clear, which with the info they had, which we saw in the end of the round. Even the attackers or the defenders actually started to panic, and you can see them in the very last seconds just going all over the place, which caused them actually the round, in my opinion.
Honestly, I would agree. Of course, from the defenders, when you're brought down from a 5v3, you're given such a big hand, such a good man advantage. It's brought down to a 4v3. Okay, what do we have? The time is on our side. We have 40 seconds, and that was great. You really don't want that reversed upon you, which is the beauty of the plant. And when they went for the plant, of course, the defenders thought this is not a good thing. Going for a retake here is going to be a small chance. So they tried going for the Thatcher, which basically just gave IQ, aka Shadow, pretty good picks. Pretty good picks on and on. And I think that was also quite a strong point that V2X took a part of. That, like you said, that stress, that moment. You really open up the curtains and just reveal everything. And that's when V2X really went for a good punish.
Yeah, and you can see this. Actually, there is a very small detail that I saw while they're setting up their defense. You saw that shield. They knew, okay, now they have the Flores. Now what we're gonna do is get the mute, put it behind the shield. So whenever they try to detonate the shield with the Flores drone, it's not gonna pop off because there is a mute jammer behind it, and that's a very small detail, but it's very important for such position. You can tell here the kill from the Wamai on the Ayana, which is a very important kill, especially there is a 1 minute 20 seconds left in the round. It's a very important position to hold, and a very important utility like hold is perfect.
Perfect indeed, but just completely forgetting about the main hole from defense and completely ignoring it is not going to be the way of going about it. Finally, using some utility, the Incandelas are going to get popped. But Wamai captures one, Wamai captures two, and even though they go off, the Shamika launcher is going to be delaying it more. 50 seconds on the clock, and the fire can completely waste it. A double kill will be coming out, traded on, or refrag directly the next second. 45 as the Wamai will be popping up into the air behind the shield. Now it's equalized, and we're back to that 40-second situation. Just like the previous round, V2X here looking very promising, but you need to play off of this retake. The Shamikas are going to be the bane of your strategy. You really need to find a loop, a hole throughout their defenders just to manage to get a good punish. Like earlier, put that panic on them. Make them pressurized. The shotgun from the Thorn will be making its entrance. A good pick, but a refrag almost coming on. A double down on the side of BTFD as it's all down to the mute. It's going to get finished. One laying on the floor. The plant is going down, and it's down to a 2v1. The plant is there, but I don't think they know about the mute. He goes from behind. He has a C4. He throws it. Call him a basketball player because it's going to be connecting directly as now he's in a 1v1 situation, but he's not checking the head holes, and that's where the Ash is going to be, waiting for him, playing around it, and using the defender setup against them.
That's one way of a roller coaster to end the round. This round could have been like so important for team BFTD, and it's just so it was so set up well, just perfectly for them. They had nothing else to do except what they have done, but they managed to start peaking and playing aggressive, and they started panicking. As we said, this is what the problem was for them, because you got the two picks and the perfect Wamai setup with the shield and the mute and the Wamai and everything. This was perfect for you, but you still peaked, and even now we can tell why the Thorn was playing with a shotgun, because she was playing on the corner of the door to deny the entrance on that specific site entrance. And that was perfect. Everything was lined up perfect, but then everyone started peeking. It all started with the Wamai peeking from the hallway, and that was the start of the fall for the whole round, in my opinion. I think this round could be very crucial to them as well, because also this site is not an easy site, in my opinion, to be defending, because the amount of places you need to hold for this site specifically. Okay. Okay. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Okay, opening frag from BTFD, like always. It's on to the Ying, the most important execute operator on their team as of current, in order to have that win success rate go skyrocketing. Especially because BTFD is now rocking a Warden. You need to have that Ying. Also, Fancy Pixel, is that 3 Capcans on one door?
Yep, you saw that
my
correctly. You saw that correctly. Indeed, there is a 3 Capcan on that door. Hopefully, we're gonna see a Capcan kill if the attackers are not paying attention correctly. But there's a C4 kill instead. Tell the the Capcan tell us, I don't need my traps. I'll just use my C4.
Oh my, okay. The C4 makes its appearance for the second round in a row. First it was the Mute, and now it's going to be the Kafka, just rocking those 5-pound explosive left and right. Absolutely majestic. Now, we are going for a bit of verticalities on admin side. Buck is trying to clear any roamers, but no roamers are around. BTFD is still playing a hiding game, and in the meanwhile, they're going to be searching him out. One kill will be coming out for VSX. Instantly refrag, though, just like always, by the side of BTFD, and this time they don't seem to be cracking under pressure just yet. Hopefully it stays that way, because that 3-1 is not looking nice for the halfway split, especially when you're on the defensive on a map like this. But they seem to be very persistent on going over and over again. Now, it's not top floor again, which is a bit of change of pace. Verticality is needed. We have the Ram, we have the Buck. But those aren't necessarily the operators you want to have in the last few moments. Going for that execute, of course, verticality is good. But when you have enough people to hold it and go for the plant at the same time. Now, upstairs, that mirror is still just staring everyone dead in the eyes as we're counting down to the last half a minute. Time is ticking. Flashes are getting dropped as an opening pick. The second one just to leave the Buck alone in a 1v4 situation. The pre-fire from the L2A3 right around the corner as one round will be transferred over to BFTD.
Correct, and indeed they're fixing up their mistakes and slowly going back to the three, aiming for the 3-3 half, which is could have been better for them because, as we said, the map leans to be more defended sided. But however, Team V2X are pulling the fight. The last round showed us the very the very need for opening the like getting control of the top floor and taking control of the verticals because you saw who are the last two operators that were alive. It was the Buck
Yeah.
and the Ram, the ones that should have been in the first place in top floor, taking the gunfights, clearing top floor, and then setting up everything for the execute for the team. But that's
Yeah.
not the case. We saw everyone fall before them, and that was the problem for the attack for V2X in that round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna hop back to a discussion you were on earlier before we saw 3 Capcans on one door, which is a nightmare of mine. But I feel like both of these teams are just different sides of the coin. We have V2X, very rough starts. They go in for these risky plays, just ignoring shields, ignoring strategies, and getting completely lost. But then when it comes to the end, when they're under pressure, they become a diamond. And BTFD, or BFTD, my mistake, gets plummeted through. The refrags are good from both teams, but it's always V2X with a rough start and BFTD with a bad start. But in the meanwhile, that's all in the past. Let's go to the present. The breach will be there, and it's not going to get tricked. Sadly, the Tubarao is not online for the defenders, which is going to make Cade's job just a tiny bit harder.
Yeah, and be careful that this is a best of one, so every round count. There is no other map. There is no other chances to correct your mistakes. You have to correct your mistakes on the go. So from what I'm seeing, there is a lot of mistakes from both sides actually, but it's still a chance to learn because it's still a qualifier, one of the qualifiers. But we can see here the the team VTX are trying to play on the verticals, trying to take slow, take control, take the info, and I think this is a very important thing to do, especially for the basement site in Consulate. So the Rams starting to do this and starting to open the verticals is a very important to set up for the execute later. I don't know why there is a there is a talk there in the lineup. I think this was maybe it was a mistake. Maybe this was they had a different plan in mind, but the existence of mute is very important, and we can see here the fight between the IQ and the Valkyrie, but and the goal comes to the assistance, but the Valkyrie decides the IQ decides to not take the gunfight and start focusing on the site execution because 50 seconds remaining. They should start taking care of the flanks and the setup for now.
Most definitely. The attackers do not have too much time, just like always. It's the same situation, and letting the Valkyrie go above you is going to be quite a hassle. Quite a bit of a tough one to deal with. We've seen it happen earlier, and it ended in a 5v3, which, E2X, I tip my hats off to you. You barely managed to get out alive. But it's going to be happening again. 4v5 brought on. Shotgun whips out. Gets one, gets two. An amazing shot, but gets refranked the same second. It's down to a 2v4 and V2X again in a complete man disadvantage. Flashers are going to get dropped. No word into the counter that, but just walking into side is not going to be it. From verticalities from left, you're getting peeked from everywhere. Angles are being held, and now it's down to the poor old Thatcher, who's just going to be saving the KD as you should, because you're now walking into a site where you're getting cross-held from absolutely everywhere. Again, when you're attacking, you clear top, clear bottom. You make sure roamers are either dead or they're back and cozy into sight so you can get ready for your execute. Letting people have visa is a major mistake. You either take control of complete yellow site, top to bottom, or you take everything. Because once an opponent is able to get above you, and while you're trying to go for verticals, you're trying to hold angles, maybe you're on a drone, whatever the case is, if someone's going to be coming up behind you, what's the point? You either clear it all as fast as you can at the very start, or you just let them roam around and punish you heavily for it. We saw that Valkyrie, that's the second time, maybe even third for all I know we're seeing. But whatever the case is, 3-3 halftime split. Going into quite an equal one. I feel like both of these teams gives away around with huge mistakes, letting triple kills happen. Whatever the case is, pushing things they shouldn't. Each team is getting punished, and if we're not going to be seeing any adaptation from the side of maybe, how about we don't make these very, very unnecessary mistakes, I think it's just going to keep on going. They're going to be tossing rounds after rounds.
Yeah, definitely. If they didn't fix their mistakes, but now we're in the second half, and we switched, and the attacks are the defense, and the defense are the attack. You can see here the info, and the spots are getting just going left and right on the Solace, which is a very important operator, especially the Solace is trying to play below and deny late round planting. But I have a question about the setup of the attack, because I see the lineup. You can see the lineup between the Grim and the Capitao, and yeah, this is what I'm thinking is going to happen, because we can see here the first kill gets from the defender, but then there is another kill traded. The Glass and the Capitao setup shows you that they have a certain plan in mind.
Oh. Well, certain plan in mind, but it didn't involve that Solus wall banging. One of the players traded out, but not for the Solus. It's going to be quite a good one. Now, going into this plan is, of course, a decent strategy. You smoke everything off, contest it with your attackers, throw all utility, go for all on red. We're going all or nothing. But not having full knowledge of defenders is quite a risky way of going about it. Depends on C4s, depends on Shumikas, depends on smokes, and depends on Pulse/Solus players. Speaking of the Solus player, a second very nice kill, P90 administered, but the plant is actually down. They managed to get it, and now it's all repel action from here. Runouts are going to be needed. The Claymore is spotted, and one kill is administered, but the second wanting to run out, killed. A retrade comes out. The Capital gets taken, but not before that Claymore goes off, and giving the time, and of course players, to leave the Malusi in a 1-0, 1-0 situation, defusing it, and in the end it was chaos. The Solus goes for a run out. Capital is waiting for it. Capital sees someone run out, looks to the right, and gets killed, but then the person running out the Capital also gets killed. Bit of a Looney Tunes action all around.
Yeah, I think we can, the clown music that yeah, I think if we add it to this round, it's going to fit perfectly.
Perfectly.
and like everything was set up correctly, and this is what we have been saying again and again and again, and it seems to be the constant theme for Team BFTD, that everything was set up correctly. You just had everything, and you just in a 20 seconds, everything you had, you just lose it. You had the plant, you had the setup, you had everyone. You could have just hold the window. You had you had the claymores, and you can just hold it from the windows. Keep playing on the window and just denying anyone that tries to defuse the counter defuse, but you still choked it simply.
Yeah, I mean it's honestly a miracle how this keeps on repeating. Honestly, not something we're all accustomed to, but it's competitive. It's fair play, and if you make the mistake, you're sure as hell going to be punished for it. Now, as we're going into the next one, not much of a lineup change, if you ask me. We see the Jackal, we see the Buck, the Nomad, the Thatcher, alongside with his lovely duo Ace. And same goes for V2X, Tuber Arcade, Legion Mute, and Solus. We're just getting operators a bit of repicks, a bit of what we've been seeing, mixed with a bit of what we've seen already. Now, it is 4-3, and here it is a game to depend on who gets to that match point first. Who will be the one to get to that 6-5, if maybe even 6-4? If V2X right now keep on winning their rounds and kind of just plummeting through BFTD and their mistakes, you're on defense. You have a good chance of doing it. You just need to do it correctly, of course. A lot of roaming presence is around the map, so I'm wondering how BFTD are going to respond.
Yeah, we have to see from BFTD the setup, and you can see here the tricks, the card, and the this is this is almost perfect because everything here they're doing is as usual, doing it perfectly, setting up for late, just for the late round, and you can see the Legion was in the lobby and getting. Oh, that's oh, that also there is the Solace helping the Legion in the lobby. Both of them are roaming and wasting a lot of time for the attackers, and gets the refrag team V2X, and it's a 4v4 now, but somehow he whiffs. No, okay, she's injured. That's fine.
She's injured, found out by the Jackal, goes for the wallbang and retrade. But you've traded two people for basically 2 minutes and 10, which is gonna be a difficult one to go through. Especially on these close quarter gunfights on Cafe side with a mute, you're gonna be having a lesser chance of winning those. But verticality is exposed, so could be having a bit of an easier time going into this plant. Missing some shots on the proximity. Mistakes like that do happen. Nomad slowly approaching yellow stairs and slowly descending. We are going to have to actually get into the action. That's the mix of attack and action, just so you guys aren't confused and I'm not making up words. Well, I am. Another thing that's happening in the current moments, HP is dropped. Ace on 35 and getting held by the smokes and from upstairs. Trying to random shot, the Cade will begin taken out alongside with the second one onto the mute. The Tuberal peaks, and they're ready for him. The Ace is planting, and he didn't have enough action just yet. He wants a kill, and he got it. And the next round is dropped off to BFTD. Another trade. We're back to 4-4. We're just ping-ponging rounds one to another.
Yeah, every time you think a round should go the one way, it doesn't, and it goes the other way. Yeah, this as we were saying, we talked about BFTD and what have they have been doing wrong, but this time they have actually done it right. They took the control of the vertical. They set up everything for the round, and the moment they saw they could plant and go for the plant, when they had the info, they just went. Even though the site was not clear, there was the Kaid and the Tubro on site, and they planted right in the middle between of them, and Team V2X didn't have an idea until the plant went down, and then they just panicked because everything was already too late, because the verticals was already there, the setup was already there, and they just had to. They fell into the trying to retake the site from Team BFTD, which already held it correctly and just perfectly.
Yeah. But in the end, Fancy, we're 4-4. Each
Yeah.
team makes a huge mistake each round, and I think that's what gets them killed. The team.
Uh, well, I think Buffo, are you here? Well, seems like Buffalo's not here, and seems also the Jackal is not here with us in this round. And here is the trade, of course, from the Ash, and there is a C4, makes it a 4v3 for the team V2X, and already Ash is the site, and no one knows about it except, of course, the Warden, but the Warden gets taken down by the Ash, and already
I do.
everyone. Yo, here we
Hello,
are.
I do
Hey,
apologize. My internet did cut out for a second. I'm sorry, Fancy. Didn't
no
mean
worries.
to leave you alone. You know I'm always here for you.
Yes, definitely. Bob, do something.
Bob is onto it. Bob, get out there and say something. I'm going to do exactly that. 3-3, standing a bit still. It's a bit of a Western standoff as of current. Everything's just set up. I mean, these attackers, they're taking their great time. They're going for verticalities. We haven't seen that too much of that, but we're hearing about it. We've seen a lot of adaptation from BFTD, and hopefully we're going to keep on seeing it. The Pulse is around. He still has, actually, my mistake, doesn't have the C4 around. But whatever the case is, it's Intel none the wiser. Now slowly, taking a bit of a step back. We need to actually realize what situation we're going up against. Ash pushing down Yellow, and the Soulless swings and hits. P90 in hand, an absolute destructo ever gone. T5 joined along, gets the second pick, and now all we need is the third to completely shut it down. We have Legion in small box, one with the UMP 45, completely shut down, tries to push him, tries to go for the refrag. The Pulse also not being able to actually finish the job first, but you know what they say, third time's the charm, but this time it was second, so I guess the saying doesn't apply there.
Yeah, it's still they still if you count the shots, maybe it wasn't even first or second. Maybe it was like close to 20. Depends on how the number of bullets that was shot by the Pulse. But yeah, in the end, still got around 5-4 for Team V2X, and you can tell the control, and they're trying to fight for the match point as early as possible to push away from going overtime. And yeah, it's a very good round from them, and you can tell even the team BFTD that the Ash was doing such a great job, because he was just going and doing his job as an Ash mid, running and just shift W everywhere and getting the kills needed for the team, but the team couldn't capitalize off that frags. So let's see the setup for this round and how could this round be played. And we can see that the Solace is playing in the second floor, or the first floor if you're counting like that. And we'd see if the Solace will have a bigger impact on this round or not. We can see the push is slightly towards the office, and maybe the plant will be in the meeting. Can see in the meantime, still spiral bottoms of spiral is the Solace running around, and the Melusi is also on the Visa Visa stairs, trying to hold that as well. And we can see, of course, the default spot with the Wamai and the shield beside the soda machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 minutes in the round into the round, and I think, yeah, it's a very well set up from the defenders, specifically the use of the Melusi now, because the four benches are just too much in my opinion.
Too much indeed. Back to upstairs, back to the same hold. How are we going to get rid of the shield? The mute is still lurking around, but is it behind protecting this angle? We're not too sure about that. Trying to roam clear, like previously stated, is going to be Jackal on the job, going for those first floor. Because you don't want C4s below you. It's a horrible way of going out. Now, I don't think Jackal is familiar. Yes, he is! He's ready. He vaults. He flicks to the right and connects it directly onto the Melusi. He's taking no prisoners and giving off no mercy, as he's going to be getting a nice opening pick. Now, a bit of contention from the Wamai, dropping the Ash to 4 HP. A very low amount, not going into any gunfight with confidence, besides the one directly onto the Warden, who's just swinging around, hoping to get himself a nice kill. Alongside the Soulless is going to be making it a triple. But one refrag coming out from the Muta, traded out into a 1v4 situation. It's all left to him. The 1v4 Mute. Can he do it? Pulls it out and tries, but doesn't work. He goes for the SMG-11 shot, but decides to switch to his shotgun.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just siege timing for you right there. But in the end, of course, still it was the Wamai, the mute against 4. So even if he managed to get the Ying, it would have been a little bit still not in his favor unless they just went crazy and they did everything wrong in that round. In the end, here we are still again with an even score of 5-5.
Oh, this is just one round.
Yeah, as you can tell, like every team just, as we said earlier, the game goes one way and then suddenly everything changes and then it changes to the other side and then that other side wins. So maybe this round we'll see something different, but unlikely seeing already from the 10 rounds we already saw. We'll be needing at least the 12 rounds to see the winner of this match at least, and see the setup of the defenders, how will it help them this time. So we can tell from the Soulless roaming, and then we have also the Mute playing upstairs, and of course the Wamai with the shield, with the same setup. Everything is the same. They're trying to do the same thing. Maybe a little bit different and fix the micro mistakes they did for the last round, and we'll see what happens.
No, it'd be great if my internet could fix itself. For some reason, it just keeps cutting out. I'm so terribly sorry. I wish I could go over to the IP providers, the internet providers, and just, give them a stern talking to. Maybe it cast their mistakes, but we're here to cast this match. And Soulless is there to rile us up. P90 again in action. We've been seeing it quite a bunch. The frags on the Soulless are absolutely showing themselves, just shining in the darkness. As another one, there goes a trade. It's not going to be onto the Soulless, but the Wamai is going to be taken off. So the utility isn't there to be recharged. Quite an unusual situation, especially unfortunate because the Ying is still on board. So BFTD, you better keep her alive if it matters or not, because that execute is going to be so much smoother if you do. Now the Soulless lurking around. In the meanwhile, a bit of a gunfight coming out between the Zofia and the side of Top Visa. Defenders still holding their angles, as they should. And we're going to have to see how these attackers are going to spread out.
Yeah, this is a very problematic because of the Jackal and the entrance. Of course, he goes in and another kill from the Zofia, but the trade, of course, directly from the Melusi, that no one took notice of their existence on that stairs, and another kill almost from the Melusi, but the Jackal on the other side has another opinion, making the Melusi all on her own. 1 versus 2 for now at least, and then we see the Ying takes the gunfight but loses it, makes it a 1 versus 1, but the Jackal already has another say into this, making it another round for team BFTD, going for match point.
Oh, they just won 2 rounds in a row. It's a switch of pace. BFTD is actually playing seriously now because they are not letting it go to V2X. Now, as the curse goes, once every 2 rounds, one of these teams should get a win, but BFTD, two in a row, are they going to be getting the third? Because if they do, this
We will
BO1
see.
is pocketed directly for
This
themselves.
I'm starting to have a feeling this is going to be a maximum overtime.
It's going to be
And
8. It's going to be 8-7, definitely.
just imagine this scenario. It goes to maximum overtime, and the last round ends with the team defusing the just counter defusing, and the diffuser ends on the very last second. So we would be possibly getting every very last second of this match as much as possible. I wouldn't think this wouldn't happen. I think this is a very likely scenario from seeing both teams and how they play so far.
Yeah, it is. I definitely expect it to happen. I mean, the caster curse is real, but is the V2X versus BFTD curse happening as of right now? Because I mean, you're definitely on point. If it goes to maximum overtime, I'm expecting that defuse to last as long as it can. I'm expecting it to go all the way, and it either ends here and BFTD put a stop to it, or it's gonna be going. I'm saying 15 rounds. I'm saying they're going to be long and grueling for both of these teams. But let's see if BFTD can muster up the strength. Let's see if V2X can lock in and secure this one, just managing to slip by. As a leaf will be appearing by V2X, starting off on a 4v5 already. Bad start for the defenders, but thankfully, it wasn't that majorly important of an operator. You still have the Legion, the Soulless, and the Pulse.
Well, we'll see what happens in this round. If it's going to be a rehost or not, I don't think so because yeah, I don't. The round already started, so we'll see what happens for the rest of the round. This is already an advantage for Team BFTD, and you can see that Thatcher is taking control of the top floor, but there is a Mira upstairs as well. Maybe the Mira is going to stop the Thatcher in his position, but I don't think so because you can tell already the slow push from Team BFTD, and they're trying to take control. But here is the Solace saying, "We don't care if we're down one. We're gonna make it equal now," and then takes the control of the stages and getting rid of the bug, which is a very important operator for this site. But however, you can see here the rotate from the Mira almost losing her life and going back to basement and away from the site. So we'll see how this round goes. 58 seconds and the attackers are in trouble. They need to start going to for the execute, but they don't know anything about the info of the site or where is the rest of the defenders.
Where's the rest of them? You need that intel. You have verticality, but you don't have the intel which V2X are getting provided perfectly by the Pulse and the Soulless. Now holding their angles, they're trying to deny any type of entrance or any type of push from BFTD. They're completely cornering out the tankers, even not allowing them to even bring the fight to sight. They have the hatch open, but it's a risky drop, and they're willing to take it. With the time they have, the IQ is down. Ace takes a lot of damage, and he will be off the board. The plant is basically there. 3v3 brought on by the Ash, barely hanging on for that 44 since the entirety of the match, basically, and holding their angles. IQ just stopping anyone from pushing in. Ash gets the second, and now we have the Pulse contesting. He's not going to be using his microwave as of yet. He's just trying to go for pre-fires, trying to look for where they are, as in the meanwhile, the Mira's going to be contesting Hatch, taking back verticality, and not trying to be so aggressive about it, as that will be the job of the Ash and the IQ, as BFTD will be taking this BO1, the best of one format going to them. And can we look at that scoreboard again? That was a 20 bomb dropped from one of the players. Absolute massacre from both of these teams.
Yeah, it's a very almost gone maybe to overtime if that disconnect didn't happen. But however, we saw everything correctly being done from BFTD finally for one last round at least. And yeah, thanks for both teams for this matchup, and I really enjoyed the way both teams were playing because you can tell both teams, yes, had their mistakes, and they were trying to learn on the go because, as we said, this is a best of one. But still, in the end, BFTD came on top in the end and won the match. Still, maybe we could see another opportunity for them later on and see they improve from their mistakes, hopefully. But nonetheless, good luck for both teams, and yeah, thank you so much for that match.
Yeah, most definitely. Absolutely perfect. Now, BFTD going on for a chance to go from 50 to 100 points today and leaving our poor old XV2 in the 25 points margin. But in the end, that was the second match of the qualifiers. There's two more, which sadly I won't be present because I do have some other personal things to attend to. But Fancy, thank you so much for the cast. Thank you so much for the production. And I do believe it is time for us to take a bit of a break.
Hello back everyone. This is going to be the second match for today, and we're going to see two teams that one of them we just saw, which is team BFTD. It's a tongue twister. But today and this for now is not going to be with me. Buffo is going to be with me, Mr. Whiskey Glitter himself. How are you today?
Not too bad. Happy to be here. Happy to get some siege in. Always a pleasure to come over to the Eon here. I'm excited for today's matchup. Right? It's kind of this go big or go home scenario, and it's the semifinals for the Open qualifiers. This is where the magic happens, right? So I'm excited to see what we have going on today. Can we take a quick look at the rosters on who we got lined up for this evening match here? On the side of BFTD, a whole slew of names here that, of course, you know and love. A couple of, looking at their win rates, little under that halfway percent, so a little bit of a struggle, but nothing to be overly concerned about. Best map, Border, love it. Worst map, Chalet. That's a question mark.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Chalet, like one of the most became one of the most default maps now in the map pool overall. And but yeah, some of the players sometimes don't like specific map or a specific play style, and that's why certain maps fall to them, and they have other maps they are familiar with and more
Yeah,
comfortable
so
with.
it's just a little bit of a question mark when it's Chalet, right? Because it's kind of determines what your map pool is, and if that's not on the high one, a little bit tougher. On the side of Adept, same sort of rosters, right? These are people that you know, that you love, you've seen them play. The big difference here being that win rate shot up to a 69%, having almost 3/4 of a win rate there. Clubhouse being the best map, and Border being the absolute worst for Adept here. So the best map for BFTD and the worst map for Adept, I imagine probably not the map we're going to see today.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Border is gonna be played specifically because not all teams are preferred into playing Border because they're like it's not always everyone's cup of tea. But here we are playing Clubhouse, which is actually Adapt best map. So good luck, have fun for both teams, and let's get into it with Monty ban. Of course, the first ban has to be Monty specifically in Clubhouse, taking control for the rafters or taking control overall with the Monty specifically after the shield changes is very important to ban.
Absolutely. Just probably one of the most banned operators across the competitive league. Doesn't matter what region you're in. Dokkaebi and Monty being just super extreme. Now, Dokkaebi does have that nerf coming up, so I'm excited next day. She is going to be gone. Valkyrie going to be the next to follow it up. We talk about Siege being a game of intel and opportunity. And Valkyrie is one of the best to do it, especially in all of that soft breach material that is above you, leads itself to that C4 capability. And then, of course, to follow it up, right? Vertical presence is something that you hear Pengu talk about all the time. You just can't walk down a. That's going to be quite a bit easier.
Yeah, definitely. But don't forget that we are we still have the bandit and the Azami to be able to deny that wall. Hopefully, the combination of both are going to be very important for the defenders, specifically in such rounds. So we're gonna see how the round shapes up, and yeah, I think this is going to be a very important map or like overall match. Fix your mistakes on the go. There is no second chances for you to fix anything, and you have to own up in every round and
That is
every
a
single
great
fight.
point. Absolutely beautiful point. It's a best of one. It's a sprint. So it's going to come down to which team can adapt better. Defense here looking like a pretty standard setup, but it's standard for a reason. This is an incredibly goated lineup. It speaks to pace setters, hitting that attack into one solidified area, cutting off some of those rotates, and of course the bandit to hold it. I love it. On the other side of it, it's a two-pronged approach there, Fancy, right? We've got the double hard breach. CCTV, we're going to see him open up construction, and we're going to see him open up hot tub, put sledge onto the windows to take care of some of those castle barricades. Lends itself to the long angle here style gameplay.
Yeah, definitely, and of course the hold from the cache and is going to be very important because still you have to fight and the Azami on the ace, which is a very important pick and specifically for the first blood of
Yep,
this
huge
round.
play. So that does put the body balance in favor of the defense here as they find themselves a second kill win on the double, taking them out into that 5. Get that man count back into their advantage. It's the pressure from red that's absolutely stymieing this push down. Looking towards that Logi drop. Still got a minute and 27 here, so plenty of time for this.
Yeah, but it seems like that the attack of BFTD are very focused on the not going well for them, losing not one, not two, but four at this point, and everyone is just going all over the place in the attack for this round. They didn't follow up with each other, and they just fell one after the other, and that was just it for them. You can see now it's a 5v2 play, looking that there is still 5 defenders left, and it's only 30 seconds for
Yeah,
India
so
left.
you're right. 30 seconds takes the shot. Win Adept gonna be able to find himself the triple kill. Hey, make it a quad piece. Break out the bar on the very first round, showing some dominance and exactly how you need to be holding that gym bedroom area. So it was a beautiful attempt, or beautiful work. So now they find themselves one up in the scoreline as we're going to head actually down to the church arsenal for the second one.
I got baited. I got baited into. I saw they had me for 10 seconds almost saying what I was like, oh yes, finally a team that is going to be playing bar. We haven't seen that in a very long while. But then, yeah, additional basement site.
Yeah, what do you like about this defense, right? I mean, we've seen a ton of different ways to place these mirrors, right? And it does vary from times split up where they put the mirror on the far right side. We've seen put it in the middle. We see it for a hold on blue. I think this is a good setup, especially trying to make up for the fact that you don't have the 4 Banshees that Malusi brings as well. I'm thinking we're seeing another pretty decent defense, especially because they're extended fully upstairs,
Yeah,
right? We got a
definitely.
double roam happening.
The Mira specifically in this site gives you a lot of info specifically because you know there's a lot of guys the first pick on the line, making it harder for them to hunt the rumors, and you can see the setup and everything. There's not only 2 roomers, actually Asian is upstairs, the 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 Mozzie is also upstairs, and the mute is in the gym. So everything in this setup is based on the refrag on the Mozzie. Gets the Ying is getting the kill and refragging for a 4 versus 4 now. I think this is going to be a little bit tricky how the defenders are setting up everything
Right.
in this
And
round.
look at this Malusi, right? She's got the play undroned out, doesn't have any intel on her, so the swing gonna potentially come in dangerously, except for the buddies is 4v3 as the pressure starts to mount. They've got the jackal out, they're hunting down these roamers, but here it is. Ram, in an untraditional sense, instead of using, oh no, she already used her gadget. So she goes uncontested, although if you look at it, they're holding it. Malusi rotated back down site. In fact, the whole team has now rotated back down, putting the pressure heavily onto the attack team, who now finds some center area. And they do get pinged out. They're going to take the swing. Legion going to find his life forfeit, the hero of the last round. Now going to be taken down and gets a little bit closer, except for the kill on to dirt. All the pressure yet again being put back onto the jackal as he's got to somehow find a way to bring about a 1v3 clutch. Not impossible, Fancy, right? This is definitely something that can be done, but it's going to take some real.
Yeah, it seems like the scenario for the first round is they are not sure, they're not sure how to approach this defense and how can they just focus on getting things sorted out for them. First kill, and of course the Mira is there to refrag it. But however, as I was saying, it seems like Team BFTD are not through the pace of the round and attack the whole setup.
Oh,
Like,
come on.
please tell me
Oh,
I'm seeing
stick
this.
it. 5 seconds
Yes.
left, baby. Stick this
Yes.
pick. We want the bar stage. Hey, that's the mark of a good team, my friend. And it's a bar stage. What do you like about the defense that they're bringing, Fancy?
I'm loving this because the combination between the mute and the combination between E exactly on spot, and I am waiting for this round because I've seen uh, myself. I'm a very fan of with many teams I've coached, and I want to say this site is a very important site. If you know how to play it, and and specifically in a best of one.
Absolutely brings something out that they haven't seen. It's gonna continue that adaptation here, and you're right, I like it. The roam game heavy and present with the orcs able to traverse the strip, right? So we're looking at a double extension here, which does put a little bit of strain on the defense, right? Because they've got so many areas that they're gonna have to cover. Means the buddies, but it's not meant to be. Oryx and Echo, they're not supposed to be roaming, they're not supposed to be out. So a little bit of pressure starts to be put onto the construction areas. They start to mount a little bit of an attack and try to figure out exactly what they're going to do, bringing both the Thermite and the Ace along. So going to make sure that they get everything opened up, which I think is going to be step one in finding yourself around.
Oh, that's a very, very bad placement for the Echo drone. Losing one of the Echo drones like this earlier in the round is very crucial, and you might be punished for it. So we have to see what will be the case. Insane place and insane timing for the Frost to run out from, and getting the Ace, one of the most important operators too. And you can see the Jackal track on the Echo is going to be a little bit problematic, specifically because you need the Echo in the first, in the last part of. Okay, I don't know what the mute was doing there, but you can, the kills are going left and right for Team Adapt, and they are just getting it done 4v2. This is what I like about this side, because in scrims by the way, not every team would, if you play scrims, like clubhouse in the scrims, not all would have enough chances to practice against a team pulling this side. And the 4 versus 1, everything is left now for the thermite. Yeah, and it's of course one of the trickiest side to handle for the attackers. Even, and add to that, if you're not prepared enough, you're going to be all over the place.
Yeah, so that's going to be 3 for Adept Club now. Having went through, the round rotates, find themselves up in a huge way, and you really go about it. You have to have that vertical control. You have to get in, you have to stop that roam that goes up top, and then redirect your presses to start getting inside, get yourself ready, potentially dropping down hash. He didn't quite know what to do there, so they're going to have to try again back at gym and bedroom, where they're going to see a little bit different of a lineup, right? Earlier we saw the castle being brought out, the operators funneling those attackers. This time, however, going to get a little bit more intel on the board, and I'm going to call Fender part of that intel club as well, right? Because that gadget goes off, and everybody hears it, everybody knows where it's going, and it pinpoints exactly yet again. So going to make it a little tough to start to take some of that real estate. We going for another run out? No.
close.
Almost pays the price for his hubris there, and then ultimately does. The repeat of gadgets is going to be ripped off the board, and BFTD finds himself ahead in the body balance.
Definitely. Specifically, Wamai shouldn't be the person at all to be picking this specific time of the round. Is not he. The site is all the way in gym, and you already have the control of the pace of the round, and you don't need to lose such a valuable operator. Such is not going great for Team Adapt, because they have just lost another operator, which is the Fenrir, which makes it harder for them to go all over the place for two of the most essential operators in the rounds. So
Absolutely. So we see the man advantage sitting in the hands of BFTD. Their first chance here, their first look at potentially claiming a round, but not out of it yet. The time starts to click, ready to send it onto the hatch, onto the catwalk. Not going to find anything, however. This is a little bit of damage done, but nothing that's going to solidify a kill. So lots of red pings. Everybody's still kind of holding on to that extension here. They're going to find the thermite down. That's going to get a little bit closer, but Bandit going to start taking some damage. He's reduced to that 19 HP and a dream, but just enough to get behind the wing. Seconds, Fancy, left here in the round for them to try and be able to pull something off and solidify their first round win.
yeah, and it seems like very in their favor. 3-0 already. Have to go at least try to go for the 3-3, and another kill goes here by the Buck, making it harder. FTD perfect control of the round, and they didn't let things slip from their hands, and I think this was just a little bit too much. They were just trying to do everything at once, and that cost them the round of.
Yeah, I'd agree with you 100%, right? Great job by BFTD by taking control of the round, finding that early entry pick, and then take real estate along with it. Then it's just a number. It's just the body. They were able to take real estate, force the defenders back in the side, set up those valuable cross angles, but specific push point, and finally solidified themselves around, which they needed, right? 3-1, we head now to the secondary site for the second part of the round rotate. And it's going to seem very proactive here in this situation, Fancy. I like the area denial of the Goyo
Yeah,
coming out.
definitely. Go specifically after the rework became a very crucial operator for a map like Clubhouse around. He has 4 of them, and just you can put them in the most annoying places. I saw that there is like at least 3 on the side of cache. You don't want to stack them all over the place in the same area. You would like to put them in a lot of places and make it harder for the attackers to go into the maps, and putting them all in one place is a little bit
I
questionable.
agree with you. We'll see if the strat pans out here. We're getting our first minute now, finally starting to count down as they're starting to get some intel inside of the potential extent in this back area. But it still sits 5-5. First minute's done. Intel gathered. Now we're going to start to see them act upon that. One of the big things that we're looking at here is the mute all the way down. He's got the flank, and if he's not the last alive, going to be potentially huge here. So they can start maving to try to get this wall opened up, but having a bit of trouble because of that skeleton. Now take a look into sight. Start to suss out where some of these other defenders are at. Huge mute jammers, stopping the intel push into construction.
uh, Very important part of the run. Now the wall is open, and you can see that the use of the echo is really important in a very tricky situation. Focus on the wall of the single wall of the cache and the bug going from below to try to make to make it harder for the bandit to trick on that wall and open it. Is the oh, come on, is he gonna do it? It's not
Oh
gonna do
my
it.
lord, the shotgun, the homie doesn't even turn around. Gonna find himself an easy double. Fancy as we said it. If he wasn't caught out on the drone, he was one off the board and send one down. Now puts all of the pressure onto the 0 in a 1v5. He's gotta get a kill. He can put himself on pace for the ace. That's gonna be the first as he finds the first headshot. But that, and it was gonna be an easy kill for Win to come out on the backside and take another round for Team Adapt.
I have to say that that mute shouldn't have had play that. He saw the first one, the Maverick, and couldn't shoot him. Then switched to the shotgun, and then he couldn't shoot them. And then both of them, the aim, and both of them got dealt for the shotgun from the mute. But yeah, overall another round for Adapt, and BFTD was not able to capitalize on how will it go, and if it's going to be a 4-2 half or it's going to be a 5-1 lead into the other half when we switch sides. What the Jackal? Oh, they already got the Deimos instead, and seeing the Vision. What do you think?
I
of
love
this?
it, right? This is a great play here by BFTD. One of the things that has been absolutely hurting him, oh, look at this. Vigil going to be trying to get some play here, potentially. Shot going to be able to make that jump out, waiting for any sort of sound to happen, but not going to be implemented just yet. I love that we brought the Deimos and the Lion Fancy, because that flank has just been so important to Adept, right? A couple of times now, the 3 rounds at least, we've seen the flank have huge possibilities and ramifications, and they capitalize on it beautifully. So Adapt, bring out some operators that are going to hunt down some of those roamers. The problem is, with the Deimos, right, the Vigil can stop that ability in its track. Wynn's already going to be active, going to find the kill onto the Deimos, exactly who we were just talking about. Gets himself a huge kill, and now the body bounce heavily in favor of Adept yet again, as Ram is also on that 5 HP and a Dream. And I also gotta say, I love that Wynn is bringing out the assault rifle instead of the Boss G. I love the Boss G, it's fun, it's inventive, but in a 1vx scenario, it's completely out of the question that you're gonna be pulling off any sort of 1v3, 1v4 without an assault rifle in it. So I like the adaptation, I like it being brought out. Really putting some pressure here on BFTD to find some kills and equalize, and of course get ahead, or they're going to just be playing catch up the entire rest of the game.
Definitely, because as we all know that the Boss G is one of the most consistent guns in the game for in case of the damage. But however, this is not enough to make you win the whole round, because in a matter of seconds you could just lose the gunfight, because you have 2 bullets, and if your aim just doesn't hit, but however it hits here, 1 kill, 2 kill, but it doesn't go already for the 4K. The Ying is already there, but it's too late for the Ying, because there is already the Aruni, and going for the 2 kills. Adapt just going all over the place, dismantling team BFTD, and just going in a very aggressive way of taking control of this round.
Absolutely. Here's the crazy part, right? 4-2 on a scoreline for you being the attacking half. That's standard. We see it all the time. You know, it's something to be okay with, but it's definitely a different scenario when you come into it 5-1. Adept now put onto their attack side, only 1 round away from hitting that coveted match point scenario and sending potentially BFTD home here. So it is on the defense, right? And they've got all the pressure. They've got to be perfect for like 4 in a row now.
Yeah, and already a 5-1 lead into Clubhouse is a very impressive score. We already saw a lot of from Adapt from in the defense. Now we have to see, wait and see, and what they offer in the attack as well. This is a very tricky and confusing a little bit placement for the Maestro Cam, but we'll see if they get anything out of it. And yeah, we've seen Adapt in the first half, as I was saying. We have to wait and see what they offer as well in the attack, because a team is not just their defense or their attack. They have to do both in an equal good way to be able to close the game and any game, not just this match.
Yeah, agreed. So some aggression going to be brought out here by Adept, as they know that they just got to get 1 to put themselves on a match point scenario. The Blitz going to be utilized here, and after that rework, of course, the Blitz was already a formidable foe, but the rework allowing them to push in with such aggression is absolutely huge. So you're going to see the Bailiff go off as Grim starts to open up that hatch, put some vertical pressure on. Now we do have the roam all the way upstairs. I assume that it has been sussed out, right? But they just decided to ignore it instead, and not put any pressure potentially on that extension. So could be a bit of a problem. We'll see if it works out here. We do see that Ash got a little bit of a Legion goo in there, so it's going to be slowing him down, a little bit of damage done to him. A second one to be found as the sounds start giving away the locations of where that Ash is starting to push in at. It's going to be a rotate around here for the Blitz. He's going to start to put some pressure onto that garage area, potentially in the blue, top secret. So they start to fight this Legion who's now alone by himself up in the top. Does find a kill, but Blitz also to answer back, so the refrag is there, not necessarily onto the Legion, who finds himself a second, looking towards that Blitz, who comes around from the backside, but it's a pistol pop, body drop, puts us into a 3v3, but the Buck goes down. They're able to pick him back up, so he's on that low health scenario. Kind of a couple of crazy operators to still have alive for the last bit of this push here as they rotated back down. Warden going to be one of those huge factors because of his special goggles, and because he's got that shotgun in hand, he's going to look to try to put some damage onto the Blitz when they start to make their way down here.
Yeah, and that is a very tricky situation because the kitchen hatch is just about to be open, and the round is just about to end because 50 seconds, and they are very in a trouble situation, and the Maestro kill on oh, there's that's a lot of things to see, and here you can see the Blitz is going ham, but he's being stopped by the Goyo canister, and impacts are thrown on him. He's trying to take the fights one-on-one with the Goyo, but he's not gonna be able to do it because there is still another person, which is the Maestro. Is he going to rush in? He's going to go for the kill, tries to find the Goyo, finds him. It's a quad kill. Is he going to go for the ace? If he wants to save the round, 10 seconds, he needs to go for the rush.
Pushing up, they're starting to rush away. It's 18 and 24 on the damage, 4 seconds left to do so. Ran into it, gonna grab the diffuser. Is he gonna have time? No, it's gonna be the stall out. Every single piece of gadget and utility designed to slow and stop the attacking team did just that. Absolutely huge round by the defense. The problem is, right, it can't be done again because of some of the cheeky stuff, right? They're gonna start to be proactive and bringing some counter strats to that. Wanted to get in there and get a rush. They've got several rounds in which to do so. Didn't quite work out. Did bring them down to the 1v1 on pace for the ace. Almost had them. But defense gonna find themselves around, Fancy.
Yeah, the seeing of an ace from the Blades is something that I did not expect to be seeing today at all in my day. And yeah, 5-2 Team BFTD played a wonderful defense and almost choked it in the end because if you saw the match that was just before this one, this is the same mistakes and things that we were seeing from BFTD. They go in the round, they take control, and they do everything correct. And then when it comes to closing the round, they start to just fall apart.
Oh, okay. So it's a little bit of the same old here. So we're going to see a little bit more of a traditional lineup here from Adept, right? Bring along the Ace to open it up, a Maverick to help facilitate that, Grim for that intel, and then the Capitao, who's going to be instrumental to pushing that player off the catwalk. Whoever's holding it, I imagine going to be the Wamai sitting up in there. Use those fire bolts to chase them out, have a crossfire set up, and pin them to that catwalk area. This is a good setup by the attack team. Let's see if the defense has something to say about it.
Yeah, and the defense setup here, you can tell the combination of the I was just going to say the Tuberu getting the kill on the Grim, but Tuberu and the Mira as well for such site as a CCTV, specifically for the existence of such operator as the Maverick is going to be very important and very crucial. We have to see what the round is going to be and how it will shape up, because already the Mira here is open, and they are going to be a little bit tricky for the attackers to open that wall, specifically because the Mira is open, and it's going to be tougher for them to handle it in a normal fashion.
Yeah, right. All it takes now is an impact to potentially stop the opening up. Now,
Are you doing,
the
Bandit?
DMR is going to find it easily as they walk across that way that's already opened up, that main breach that's already opened up. So, but it is Maverick to get killed as well as they start to rotate back to the red area. It is the body balance now in favor of the defense. They send a grenade in, 2 of them, and that's going to find a kill onto the Adept player, even though they were being forced out of their position. So huge. Now puts them into a 4v2, a 4v1 as the headshot rings out, puts it all onto the shoulders of Capitao now, and he's got a minute in which to work. Does have that presence down below. It's pushed from up top. Bullets absolutely everywhere. Here's the thing, BFTD do not need to throw bodies at this round. They need to just hold the angle, don't send anybody else, and let the time wind down, just like they had in that last round. Because we've seen any one of these players, it's 8-4 win, right? He's been absolutely crazy on the gun skill. So if they allow him to start getting active, to start getting some of that movement, then it could start to fall apart. Fancy, we've got 33 seconds left, and it's going to be the push down into the bottom here, into the lobby. Win's going to find one. Now puts a little bit closer on the scoreline damage, starts to push up towards red, but they are in place and ready for it. Rook to find that kill, which, I don't know if you know this or not, very fun statistic here. Rook has got the highest win delta on the defense. More times, if Rook is brought to the table, you are going to find that win. And that's kind of a crazy strat because we don't really see him all that often.
Yeah, interesting. It's interesting statistics because if you think about it, uh, Rook is not a meta operator currently, and the things that Rook offers is not a lot, and might not be the kind of operator that might be suitable for everyone cup of tea in the teams, because every team has their own way of thinking and want to play in a different way. So Rook being one of the most operators in the win delta is a very important statistic right here. And here we see this timeout. You might think this timeout is not needed because there's still 2 rounds difference, but for a normal viewer, this doesn't really make sense. But I'll explain why. Because something like this, specifically going from a 5-1 half to a 5-3, and seeing that the attack of Adapt was not at all in the same quality of their defense, they need to take a pause for a moment. They need to think, what are we doing wrong? How can we start focusing into executing correctly? And how can we deal with the situation that we are facing in this matchup currently, in this half at least?
Absolutely, and you're spot on, Fancy. You're exactly right. And another fun statistic for you: 70 to 75% of the time in the comp scene, the team that takes the timeout finds the round win afterwards. A staggering number, right? So
Yeah.
it's good to slow down the momentum. If the other team is having some success, you're absolutely right. Talk about it, find out what you can change. And they're not going to do much here as far as the operator lineup, right? They go into the gym bedroom area. The fun, I think the highlight operator here is going to be the Sentry. We don't see a ton of that in the comp scene, but bringing along the double utility is huge. The shield with the C4 combo really starts to put some pressure on putting some attack in. Now, Win going to find himself another kill, puts him into that 2 KD range as he currently sits 10-5 and is not the frag leader for the team. That is on the hands of one of the hard breach. 11-3 on the opposite side of it, looking at Bandit. Unfortunate. Got to see him get impactful here because he can't seem to buy himself a kill at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tricky situation for Team BFTD currently with the way everything is set up. But you see that tried to do the run out, but the Claymore was there, and then also a kill to just trade off that death to the Claymore. But still, it's a 4 versus 3, and the round still a little bit in the favor of Team Adapt, and we have to see how is going to be shaped in the last 1 minute 40 seconds. And of course, you can see this is a very important thing because you can see the defense operator here, which just I guess it's a caster curse. I was just going to talk about Sentry being one of the most diverse operator, because having 2 set of secondary gadgets is just going to be helpful for them. But that's off the board, and now it's all left for the Mira and the Mute, the Bandit. But the Bandit goes off the board, and the Mira gets the first kill of the breach on the Thermite. Have to go for the 1 versus 3 fight, gets another kill, and that's the Diffuser trying to get the clutch with the info provided. 50 seconds, 55 seconds on the round. There is still a C4, but the C4 goes, but doesn't hit and land on anyone. We have to see
Yep.
the plant is going down.
And the crossfire set up, right? So you guys hear a little bit of the steps, and Win gonna pull off and find themselves another kill. Absolutely goated here at Clubhouse. This seems to be just one of his maps, I guess, because he's doing it right. And now, just like we kind of assumed here, right? The timeout gets taken. They talk about it. They Adept adapts, and they find themselves the round win. And now one away from sending BFTD home and allowing Adept to move on into the finals. If you're just joining us, folks, this is a semi-final round here in the Open Qualifier, so it's still trying to get yourself in to the league, into the tourney, and Adept looking real good at their attempt for it now. So back down to the church arsenal, right? And they're going to kind of utilize some of the same plays. Here's the big question. Does this work twice in a row? The problem was last time they tried to make that push in, Blitz ran out of time because of that area denial, right? Because those Goyos kept him locked into the garage. It allowed the Maestro to get up and out of sight with very little time left on the clock, allowing them to get their win on the defense. Will it happen again? Well, they're not bringing the same operators, but they're still bringing some potential rush capabilities with the Sens, the Ying, and the Glaz on the board. No dedicated hard breach. Going to have to rely on some can openers.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting lineup to see. Specifically, bringing the sense in this site is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm very interested to see how this rounds play off from Adapt. I think I was just thinking when we were talking about Adapt team in the name of how tongue twister they can be, specifically when we're playing Clubhouse, and like Adapt Club are adapting in Clubhouse. If you think of that sentence, it's going to freak you out because of everything is the same word exactly. However, let's go into this round. I think we are seeing here a little bit of an aggressive roam from Team BFTD with the Solace, with the Melusi and the Legion. Uh, we have to see what is going to be happening here. Here the Ying is in a very important position, cutting off those roamers, and is going to be very crucial. But the Ram gets another kill in another place, making it a little bit harder for the defenders in this round.
That's right, man. Still so much time left on the board. Now, they do answer back as the Sens did go out. They're able to find a kill, and the Goyo, yet again, plays some of that impact as they're able to get the kill. Now puts us into a 3v2. Minute and 30 left on the board, and Glaz is in that low health scenario, but they come down from the back end as Grim is going to find one and equalize on the man count. Now taking a peek around. We've got Maestro on camp, so a little bit of a dangerous situation here. If they're able to find it from that blue area, it sends an impact down. They've got the red pings out, so the intel is there, and that's going to be able to find one, but Goyo stopping them from making the rotate around yet again. Now puts all the pressure back onto the Grim, who is in that 11 HP area, and they're going to be able to find that kill very easily. Not a headshot, it's body full of bullets, as the defense is able to find themselves another and stay alive in this match.
Yeah, it was a little bit rook shaky attack from Adapt, and they had the idea and they were going for an execute that we saw before in one of the different matches. I think we saw it before in a major. But yeah, they had the idea, but the problem, the info, I think, was not there fully because they couldn't capitalize, and the Goyu just stopped them in the track, and they couldn't just go in and try to full execute that round. However, that round is over, and we see that their plan yet again falls into the BFTD lineup in the defense.
Okay, so we said we got to see him perfect for a couple. Finds themselves another one, puts him 2 down from tying it up. It's do or die. Now is there in a 4 to 6 on the score line, taking it back up top. and going to see a little bit more of a standard setup here. I like that they're bringing that Mira out again, right? This is a really good strat. It really stops the potential to have a Thermite on the board to be able to open it up, and allows you to impact or C4 the Selma charges that start to get set up. The addition of the OSA here, the Talon Shield, I like it. It can be utilized when done effectively, but she's very niche, right? I don't think she's the end-all be-all operator here. So this might be what they need on the adaptation. We're gonna find out as they start to open up everything.
Yeah, definitely, because we already saw this lineup from Team BFTD, and we saw how it went for Team Adapt, and they couldn't find a way to go through this setup. So maybe the Hibana is the answer, because uh, if you think about it, it's a very clever pick specifically with this lineup, because if they open the Mira and then they try to do with the Tuberu, you still technically can get the wall open until you get rid of the Tuberus, but I'm seeing a lot of confusion because everyone is just running all over the place on the side of construction. So I'm not sure what is the exact plan here. I guess we have to wait and see, because this Wamai is also onto something, so we have to wait for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is going to be huge, right? If he hasn't been sussed out, if he hasn't been spotted on the drone, then the cross to go into the construction door into sight is going to be a huge play. Tubrau gets a little bit of damage. He's reduced to that 70 HP. Start to see some hurt put onto Hibana as well, but minor, right? Only reduced to that 91 HP area. Tubrau doing his best to stave off that single door or that single wall, which is of course going to be one of the playmakers here should they be able to get it open. Huge cross set up onto red. But now, the positions down below, we've got Ash who knows that somebody's there. Doesn't exactly have it into the right place on where they're actually sitting at, but it's just going to take one bit of intel to make that push. Now, Osa goes down as they find the double. Does get traded back as Booksy's going to get taken off the board, puts us into a 4-3. As they start to make the push up here onto red. This is going to be huge. Takes the shot, but it's the double in place. They're able to find him with the vector kill onto win, which now puts us into a 4v1 tough situation. They push in. BFTD going to find another round, one away from tying us up.
Yeah, this is a very crucial round for Team BFTD, as we are just one round away from going either overtime or ending this match. We have to see, because I have to say, Team Adapt, since they took this switch, and this is, by the way, a very important timeout from BFTD. That's a very important time to take such a timeout, because such crucial round can be detrimental for you, either going overtime and just flipping all the way and doing the reverse sweep, or doing doing it a favor for Team Adapt and just going against them. But as I was saying, Team Adapt in this round, or at least in this half, have not been doing great at all, because they went from 5-1 to 6-5, winning only one round since they started this half.
Yeah, puts it a little bit more onto the is the map defensive sided, or is the team just doing well? Well, a well put together team is going to have a good attack. They only need to win one more to take it, but might prove a little bit tough. Now they do go back to Gym Bedroom, which I do believe they won the last time they played it, and going to see a pretty similar lineup. I like the addition of the Jaeger coming out because, of course, going to stop some of that projectiles coming in, those flashes that have just been absolutely detrimental towards this defensive team. So it's a good adaptation. Will it be enough? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking so, Fancy. I think we might see some OT here.
Yeah, if Team BFTD played their cards correctly, and they just doesn't fall into any unnecessary gunfights or traps that Team Adapt will try to pull, specifically because we're seeing here the blitz and also pickups. So this might be a little bit tricky for Team Adapt, and also might be a little tricky, if not handled correctly, for Team BFTD. I'm really interested in seeing how the blitz plays off for them in this round.
Well, it definitely speaks of the aggression. The kind of question mark for me here is going to be the Brava on the board. Yes, good gun. Yes, got a ton of speed. But the gadget not necessarily going to be something that's incredibly useful. Yeah, we can get rid of some of those ADSs, maybe take some of those mute jammers. And fun fact about a stolen mute jammer, right? If Brava takes that mute jammer and you plan on it, you can't be C4. So that could potentially be a part of the win condition here. Now they open it up and Blitz just pushes right in, unafraid of taking any sort of engagement inside of Lodging. They're going to take mute off the board, and it's not going to be answered back as the pistol pops out onto Booksy. Now takes us into a 5v3. This is a game-winning round here. Blitz now pushing into that construction area, finds himself a free kill as the second one rings out. Now they are able to stop the flow of bleeding on the Blitz, but it's too little, too late, as now the plant is starting to go down, and Bandit on a 23 HP is going to be pushed from everywhere. Finds himself one, puts himself onto the double kill, now looking towards it, looking for potentially anybody in the construction area, but not going to do it. Adept going to win it out and move forward into the finals for the open qualifier, and it's well-deserved, Fancy, right? That was just a well-put-together attack, exploiting some of those gaps, pushing and making just the right call for that last round.
Yeah, definitely. Just this was what missing from Team Adapt in the past 5 rounds that we've been seeing, and they finally, when the time came, they finally did it. But it was a little, maybe it was a little bit too late. Maybe they didn't want to show their cards right away. Who knows? Of course, we don't know the communication. We were not with them, but from what we saw, it was finally into the right track for them. Congrats going for the final for this qualifiers, and hard luck for team BFTD. They have done a magnificent job. They already won a game and they have lost this one, and this was a very important match for them to learn from, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully, going forward, maybe next qualifier or something, they'll see themselves in a position to do a little bit better. They had some good stuffs, good looks, but it just wasn't going to be enough. And unfortunately for us, this is all of the seeds that we have today. There is a final that is going to be played out, but production, we just can't quite get the necessary tools in place to be able to facilitate that onto Twitch. So for us, we are going to be bidding you adieu. Next Friday, 6 p.m. will be hopefully a little bit more Siege coming your way. But for me, Whiskey Glitter and Fancy Pixel, that's it for us.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everyone.